Greetings, everybody. Chef Stefan here, Chef Devar, and today we are going to be making fried cabbage. So we're going to walk you through all the steps. Have some cabbage here, have some bacon, and you're also going to need some garlic. If you have some, that would be great. If not, don't worry about it. This is a very easy dish. This is also a favorite dish, and let's get right into it. So first we're going to begin with removing the core from our cabbage. I had a whole cabbage here. I already cut it in half, but I left half of it just so that I could walk with you all through the process. So make sure you get a nice, good, sharp knife. The core is this part right here, and we're just going to cut in a triangle shape around the core. And if you cut it good enough, it should just pop right out with ease, leaving you with all cabbage. You want to take your cabbage, cut it right down the middle. It just makes it easier to cut if we do it in quarters. So we're gonna cut it there, like that. Then we're gonna come here, cut it there, cut it there. Super easy, right? Super easy. I know a lot of people get ahead of cabbage. They're like, oh my gosh, where do I begin? Where do I start? Cooking is a lot easier than it seems. So we're gonna get all of our cabbage cut up. Okay, we have all of our cabbage. Now I also have some bacon here because I don't know who eats cabbage without any meat in it. And I hope we all washed our hands before we started cooking. We want to be mindful not to spread germs, especially with COVID-19 taking place and all of that stuff with the pandemic. You know, we just want to be safe in the kitchen. The kitchen is where the most germs tend to spread, and the worst germs as well. It's very easy to spread things like E. coli, salmonella. So we want to make sure that kitchen safety is a priority. I'm going to go over now and wash the cabbage off, and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, we have our cabbage rinsed off. We have our bacon in the pan. What I'm going to do with that bacon is, if you have minced garlic, I encourage you to use it. You slap it right in there with the bacon. And I don't know, I wish you all were here to smell what this smelled like. The aromatics are amazing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook our bacon until it's about almost done. And when it gets to that almost done stage, we're gonna add our cabbage, and then we're gonna add a little salt, little pepper. Know that you can season your cabbage however you'd like, season it to taste. Me personally, I prefer something a little old school. From Grandma's kitchen. You know, Grandma, she used to be so simple with her recipes, but everything would taste amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and let our bacon cook and let our garlic get all up in there. So that way when we add our cabbage, this is gonna add nice flavor to our cabbage, and it's really gonna give it that fry that we're looking for, versus more of a boiled cabbage or steamed cabbage or something of that nature. So we're gonna give it about 5 minutes to cook down, and then we'll be ready to add our cabbage. All right, welcome back. Our bacon has cooked down successfully. So what I'm getting ready to do is add the cabbage. Now this is a small skillet, so I'm not gonna use all of this cabbage. Depending on how many people you're cooking for, depends on how much cabbage you use, what size skillet you use. So if you have a big family, then a whole head of cabbage will definitely do. But for what we're doing today, I'm just gonna use a couple of handfuls of what I prepared, and it's just that easy. Just like I just threw it right in there on top. Keep in mind, cabbage does cook down a lot. So if you find that your pan is a little on the full side, it'll really be okay. And the reason we're not gonna add water to this is because cabbage makes its own water, okay? So we're gonna put that in there. Like I said, I'm keeping the flavors very simple. Gonna add some black pepper to it. Gonna add a little bit of table salt. We already have our garlic, we have our bacon. Oh, and if you like stuff a little spicy, you can add a jalapeno or some wax peppers. All of that will give it a nice little kick. You know, if you like stuff super spicy, go ahead and add some habanero or something. I don't understand why anybody would want to put a habanero in anything, but some people do. Some people like that spice and that extra kick, so, you know, it's your prerogative. And I'm gonna add some more garlic because that's one of my favorite flavors. Right? Listen, I wish that y'all could hear what I hear. That sizzle on there is really good. So I'm about to take this, and let's make sure we keep an eye on our fire. We don't want to cook our cabbage too fast. So I'm gonna take it now, give it a mix, get everything all worked in there, and it should take between 5 and 10 minutes to cook down. And then after that, you got a nice, tasty pot of cabbage, pan of cabbage, whatever it is you want it to make. How many people out there really like cabbage? I'm a cabbage lover. Do we have any other cabbage lovers out there? Or do y'all prefer like green beans over cabbage or collard greens over cabbage? I don't know, I just really like cabbage. So we'll go with that. And with the table salt, we're gonna keep it very light with the table salt as well, because our bacon already has a lot of salt in it. So we don't want it to be salty. And we don't want to take away from the flavor of the dish either. So a little salt, you see, very light. We're not gonna get in there all crazy and heavy. And if you got high blood pressure, gout, any of those things, you definitely want to be easy on the salt. Hypertension, you know, that's borderline high blood pressure. Okay. So we're gonna give our cabbage time to cook down, and we'll be right back. And when we come back, our dish will be finished. And voila, we are here with our finished product. We have fried cabbage. Look at that, that looks good. Our cabbage is nice and tender. It's not too cooked down, you know, it still has some of its firmness, so that way it's not gonna be gummy. It's gonna be the right consistency. That looks really good. I wish I could just bite this right now, but it's super hot and I don't want 3rd-degree burns on my tongue. Okay. And if you found that your cabbage was having a hard time making its own water, please do not hesitate to add a spoonful of water or two, whatever you need. And if you use a pan with a lid, that's probably gonna be for the best. So that way some of that steam can get trapped in there and help your cabbage along the way.
Yeah, so I should be in the next hour or so. Yeah, no, absolutely, no problem. We'll get it sorted. I've already spoken to them, and they said it would be fine. So, okay. Yeah. All right. See you soon.
Next station is Acton Tower.
How's everybody doing? Listen, today we're gonna be making baked macaroni and cheese. All right, let's get started. All right. So, one thing about baked macaroni and cheese, you want to make sure you have the right cheeses, okay? And you want to make sure you want to use more than one type of cheese. It just makes it better consistency, all that type of thing. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Oh wait, first you want to pre-cook your macaroni and cheese. I mean, not your macaroni and cheese, I'm sorry. You want to pre-cook your noodles, okay? And don't cook them all the way because we are gonna bake this for another 30 minutes, okay? All right, let's get started. Let's get started with the cheese sauce. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Let's get our butter in here. And we're not making a huge pan today. What we're doing is we're just getting this, and let's get this butter going. All right, let's do half a stick of butter this there. We're gonna let that melt down, and we're gonna add a little minced garlic to this. Remember again, we're not doing a huge pan, so let's go ahead and with a teaspoon of garlic, minced garlic, and get that cooked down a little bit. And once this get cooked down, we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. Once again, we have some cheddar, we have some mild cheddar today, different type of cheeses. Got a blend. All right, now if you can look in now, you can see like it's getting like a small sizzle. That is what you're looking for. You just want to cook this just a little bit, just like that here. And what I do is I get the heavy whipping cream. And just add that in there. So far we got the butter in there, we got the minced garlic in there, we got the heavy whipping cream in there, and let's add our cheese. Now with the cheese you want to be careful because what we do is we sprinkle some on top. So you want to save a little bit. So let's get that cheese in there going. And when this all get melt down, I'll show you the next process and how we get it all together. All right, so let's let that cook down a little bit. Listen, don't stop stirring because this is cheese and you don't want to burn the bottom of your pan. All right, and you don't want to leave this too far off from where you're standing, all right? And let's get that down all melted and we're gonna go from there. And remember, on the noodles, make sure your noodles are al dente, all right? You don't want to cook them again. You don't want to cook them all the way through because we are going to put this in the oven, all right? So let's prepare our noodles. This pan, this is, oh wow, about 1.5 cups of noodles because we're not making a big pan, all right? And while this is cooking, let's not forget to add our seasoning, all right? Let's get our seasoning real quick. You see here how this cheese is coming together. And right now, until the cheese get all melted, it is going to stay almost a white color. We want to get it back to that original cheesy color. All right, so let's continue to stir this and get this down. Me personally, I want to add more cheese because I want it darker. We got more cheese we can add. So let's finish this whole cheese here. And let's mix that in. All right, we got this all mixed together, and now what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add this to the cooked noodles. There we go. Add this to the pre-cooked noodles. Got this all mixed up, leave that right here. Remember, let's add that cheese on top. And we're gonna bake this for 30 minutes on 400. Let's get that in there. And that's it. There you have it, the baked mac and cheese. And we'll be right back with a few of our next dishes. Thank you.
Welcome back. So right now we're getting ready to prepare for everybody's favorite, some good fried chicken, okay? So I have the seasonings that I like to use right here. And then I'm going to season the chicken, get it nice and floured up. We're gonna drop it in the grease. While you're prepping your chicken, you wanna go ahead and get your grease on the fire ahead of time. And your temperature should be about 350 before you put your chicken in it. If you have access to a thermometer, that would be great. If you do not, I'll show you a good, quick, easy way to test your grease. So let's get started. Let's not forget our grease. We want to have it on a medium high to high. Remember, when we put our chicken in there, we want to get the skin good and crispy. So we need our grease to be at a proper cooking temperature. Between 325 and 350 is ideal if you have access to a thermometer. If you do not, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to test your grease before you put your chicken in it, okay? So let's get into our prep. So I'm going to start with some black pepper. And again, with chicken and anything like that, I always encourage you at home to season to taste. Whatever your preference is, everybody's is different. We're gonna add a little bit of seasoning salt, and for those of us, remember, with high blood pressure issues, gout, things of that nature, we don't want to be very heavy with the seasoning salt because we're also going to add another component that has salt in it. So we want to make sure that we're not doing too much salt. Okay, this is garlic powder. I know a lot of people like using garlic salt, but I prefer garlic powder, again, because it really just cuts down on the amount of salt that's being used altogether. And here I like to use a little bit of Creole seasoning. They sell all sorts of brands of this stuff right here. So it really doesn't matter which brand you buy. It's all just about the same. And we're gonna sprinkle that on top real light, like you see there. Gonna take our cooking utensil, because I don't really want to use my hands just yet, and we're gonna give that chicken a nice little mix. Now, if you're like me and you like well-seasoned chicken, and after you mix your chicken up like I'm doing right here, and you say, hey, you know, that just does not look seasoned enough. So what we're gonna do is add more seasoning. Now, it's better to go back and add little by little instead of adding way too much, because it can't be undone. God bless you. For those of you that can't hear, he was sneezing. So, I'm gonna add a little bit more because for me, it wasn't seasoned enough, okay? But if you're at home, you can do what you want, and I'm about to sneeze too. Let's see. I'm gonna turn around and cough. Y'all, that spice got me. It's all right. And I added a little bit more of everything, okay? Because I want my chicken to be well seasoned. You know, you want it to be seasoned to the bone, as the old people used to say. You gotta season it down to the bone, right? Boom. Okay. So we have our chicken good, and now that looks like a pretty good coat of chicken. What you say? Looks good to me too. All right. Gonna set that like that. Right here we have all-purpose flour. You can use any brand of all-purpose flour. Right now, this flour is being sponsored by Winco grocery stores. So what we're gonna do is take it. We're just gonna dump that right in. Okay. If you're like me and you don't like touching raw chicken, this is perfect. Okay. It will get a little messy, so be ready for that. And we just want to make sure that our chicken is completely coated. Okay. You don't want to leave any part of the chicken uncoated. So make sure you get in there really good. I'm gonna add another layer of flour to this after, because if you're looking at it, it looks a little wet to me, and I like the coating to be dry. And I'm just gonna come back with a little more garlic. Okay, very light, as you can see, not too much. Just a little bit more black pepper. Black pepper is the flavor is really easy to overpower the dish, so you want to be careful with that. And some seasoning salt, again, like I said, very little. You don't need much. All right. So remember I told you earlier I'm going to show you a nice trick to testing your grease to make sure it's ready for your chicken. So follow me over to the stove. Take a little piece of flour here, pop in there, boom. You see that sizzle? That means our grease is ready. So I'm gonna take our chicken, start adding it piece by piece. I'm gonna cut our grease down now that our chicken is in there, because we don't want it to fry too fast, right? And do keep in mind that as you're adding chicken, your grease is going to cool down. So you really want to keep an eye on your grease to make sure if you need to adjust the temperature or anything like that, because you want a really crispy exterior on this chicken. Also, you can use any pieces of chicken. Some people like thighs, some people like breast, some people like drums. It really is up to you. I prefer drumettes because I just don't care for all those other pieces of the chicken. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of scooting my chicken over, looking for empty spaces to kind of fill in the gap, because we want to get as much chicken in here on this first batch as we can, right? But we don't want to do too much because we don't want our grease cooling off too fast. And as you can see right here, this is about a good temperature. So I'm going to adjust the grease one more time. I'm going to let this fry for about 5 to 6 minutes. Flip it over, give it about 10 more minutes of fry time, and then we'll be ready to pull our chicken out.
All right, let's see how our mac and cheese has been doing. We've been having the bacon for about 25 to 30 minutes. Let's get in here and see what we looking like. Oh, that looks great. Oh, that looks good. Let's set it over here. Now that our mac and cheese is done, come look at it. I wish I could smell it. I wish y'all could come and love it. I wish y'all could come and taste it. Listen. Bring the camera in closer and let's get a look at it. Looks amazing, right? It's bubbling. It got a nice color on top. It's cheesy. It's all right with me. I love it.
there, and we are back. Our chicken is nice and crispy, like I was telling you, and we're just gonna pull it out that grease. Look at that nice golden brown exterior on that chicken. Let me tell you something. This right here, the ancestors came through on my behalf. Golden brown chicken, crispy, nice and tender and juicy. Just gonna pull that out piece by piece. That looks good right there. I wish we had, what is they called, smell-o-vision? Wish we had smell-o-vision. I wish y'all could be here to experience this with us, with me, the Soul Chef, because this is amazing. Piece by piece, we're gonna pull that out. That's gorgeous right there. That is some gorgeous fried chicken. It really doesn't get any better than that. Let me pull it over here to the light so y'all can really get it in its in the fullness of its fullness, okay? And then I'm gonna come back over here, gonna grab our cabbage that we worked on a little bit. Okay, we have our cabbage, we have our chicken, our macaroni and cheese. We have a full setup right here, you all. This is simple, this is easy, this is quick, just something you can prepare at home. Doesn't require anything fancy, and it's gonna be delicious. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Chef Steph, Chef DeVar here. We are the co-owners and operators of the Soul Chef Catering Company, and we hope to see you soon. That looks all right, doesn't it? Oh, okay. I'm just gonna try the chicken. My God. My God.
Really good.
Let me tell you something.
Really good.
I don't even believe I cooked it.
Really good.
This right here this is blessing me.
Oh, it's good.
I thank God for the sacrificial bird on this day. God bless this chicken that gave us life. Bless this chicken.
When you put us in the kitchen together,
Right.
don't put us in the kitchen together.
Don't put us in not together.
Not together. Individually, we got it on our own, but don't put us in the kitchen together. This is all right with me.
Yeah.